Warning: the following video will contain spoilers. If you wish to avoid spoilers, please exit this video now. Otherwise, please enjoy the video. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? David here, and today I'm welcoming you back to the recap show. It's been a while since I've done this, and yeah, it's been a while since I've done a lot of stuff, but today we're going to be recapping Season 2 of Daredevil. Basically, I have nothing but good things to say about this. Holy shit, fuck. A lot of people came out and said that it's not as good as the first season. I disagree. There were definitely issues with the show, just like there were issues with Season 1, just like there were issues with Jessica Jones. This whole thing, nothing's perfect, but I think second season did a good job of carrying the momentum that Season 1 had. So, when we're first brought back into the story, it's pretty much all Punisher. Later on, it's a little bit less of him because more elements start, coming into the show. But for the first 4 episodes, it's strictly like Punisher. He gets just as much screen time as Daredevil, and we're introduced to him as some sort of the story. He's just a crazed vigilante who's killing a bunch of gangs and all that. Turns out that some mob, the Kitchen Irish, that's what they were called, they were trying to pick up the pieces after Wilson Fisk was put away. I guess this takes place like 6 months after Season 1, even though I wasn't sure, because I think it was last year, right? Yeah, it was 2015 that Daredevil came out. And almost to the year, yeah. So it was almost a year ago exactly. And yeah. Anyway, so I guess this is taking place like 6 months after Season 1. So he's only been put away. Wilson Fisk has only been put away recently, and they're talking about it. They're saying the Yakuza, the Chinese, the Russians are all dead. Everybody's gone, and Hell's Kitchen is ripe for the taking. And it was a scene that was very, very reminiscent to The Untouchables, Robert De Niro, when he kills the guy with the baseball bat. Guy was about to smash this one dude's in with the wine bottle, but before any of that can happen, boom, they're all struck down. It's that fucking quick, boom, they just all get shot. One guy manages to escape, and he goes on, and that's what leads them to the Punisher and all that. But so the Punisher is basically a one-man fucking army. He's just taking everybody out. He's got weapons, military grade, all this stuff. He's pretty much, he's the Punisher, the one that you read in the comic books. That's all he is. That's all he's doing. And he's just got one mission: find out what happened to his family. And Jon Bernthal fucking killed it. He was perfect as Punisher. Honest, it was a standout performance, really standout performance of the series so far. Charlie Cox was perfect as Daredevil, but you lose the novelty because this is the second time we're seeing him. Season 1, Charlie Cox knocked it out of the park. Season 2, Daredevil was Punisher was the one who stuck out. So Jon Bernthal was absolutely. He has this. He can shoot 1,000-yard stare, and you're just shaking in your boots. He's just walking covered in blood, and he's got this just blank look on his face, and you know death is coming. One guy actually said it, when Daredevil finds the cartel in the meatpacking district or whatever. He's like, it's just one man. What was it that he said? He's saying, oh, who were they? It's a military or something. He's like, not they, him. It's just one man. And and then you're introduced to the Punisher. He's shooting people in a hospital. Crazy. Fuck. Anyway, so Season 1 is basically, we're learning a little bit about the Punisher. We're learning why he does it, and as you find out, and he's meant to be a little bit sympathetic. You find out that his family was murdered, and he's just trying to figure out why. And a bunch of various gangs were involved in the shootout that killed his family. So he's just getting revenge, and he's trying to track people down who were involved. Oh, he actually, one of the main bad guys, the guy from The Kitchen Irish, he played, I forgot his name, but he played Vincent Van Gogh in Doctor Who. So if you guys recognize him, that's probably where you recognize him from. Anyway, so yeah, so the second half of the season, not really second half, the last 2/3 of the show, the whole conspiracy starts coming to a head, because then Matt Murdock's firm, Murdock and Nelson, or Nelson and Murdock, they represent the Punisher, even though Foggy's like, I don't want to fucking do that. But yeah, they represent him, and they're basically trying to get him off of the death penalty. They don't think they can save him from prison, although they're trying to get him into a mental health hospital, you know, because Punisher's fucking crazy. But yeah, so that's what they're trying to do, and the whole time Elektra comes back into what's his name, Daredevil's life, and he's fucking around with her when he shouldn't. And so then there's this whole thing with the Yakuza. Not the Yakuza, actually. It's a separate organization called the Hand. Ancient. You know, they've been around for a long time, and they're mystical almost, and there's all this stuff going on. And so yeah, so Matt is struggling with them while trying to balance his life as a lawyer. And it all comes to a head later on. And one negative thing that I can think of for this show, for this season, there's a lot, and I mean a fucking lot of talk about whether murder is good or bad. Like, I'm not kidding. He argues with Frank, he argues with Elektra, he argues with Stick, he argues with, Matt argues with fucking everybody. You can't kill. You just sound like fucking Batman. Honestly, like, fucking Batman. They do this shit a lot with Batman. Oh, I don't have the right to kill. Even in situations that it's perfectly justified. There's a scene where John Bernthal tapes a gun to Daredevil's hand. One in the chamber, one shot, one kill. And he tells him, you can't take me out because I'm wearing full body armor. The only way you can stop me is to shoot me in the head. Kill me. And he gets a guy that Daredevil was trying to help. And he's like, I'm gonna shoot this man. Only way you can save him is if you shoot me first. And he's like, but either way, you're either gonna kill me or you're gonna let him die. There's blood on your hands either way. And Daredevil's like, no. And he manages to get out of the situation, but a Punisher manages to shoot the guy anyway. Grotto, he manages to shoot him anyway. And Daredevil's trying to take him to a hospital, and he's like, I'm dead. Like, you know, I'm bleeding out. I can feel it. I'm fucking dying. And then he looks at Daredevil, and he tells him, why didn't you stop him? And then Daredevil looks at him and says, I'm sorry. What the fuck? You're sorry? That's not the time to be sorry. You're supposed to take action before some shit like that happens. There's one thing. Frank is doing one thing. He's tracking people down and killing them. Yeah, I can understand why you disagree with that. But if you can save someone or yourself by killing them, that's perfectly justified. But he even shies away from that. It's not until... fuck. It's just, it pisses me off so much when these heroes try to be so righteous and shit. You can kill the bad guys every once in a while. Don't let it become a thing. But if he's like, I'm gonna kill these people, and if you don't, kill me, because that's the only way you're gonna stop me. If you don't do it, then their blood is on your hands, and they kill dozens of people. A lot of people got mad about that in Man of Steel. Man of Steel did the same thing. He was about to blast some people, and he couldn't stop him. There was no way for him to physically do it unless Superman did it. He fucking broke his neck. That was justified. That was fine. I don't understand why people get so pissed about that. Superman and Batman actually have killed people in the comic books. Nobody bats an eye. Fuck it. So, the Hand, they're looking for this thing called the Black Sky. And it turns out that it's Elektra. I didn't really understand what was going on right there. Is she I'm thinking, was she an Inhuman or something? Because they were doing some weird stuff to try and get to her. Like, they were siphoning people's blood and stuff like that. It was creepy. It's some real, like, fucking satanic shit. And but yeah, that's a whole separate storyline. Because that storyline, Elektra comes back into his life, and she's tracking down the Hand, and they're doing all of this stuff to try and stop them, until the end where it turns out that Elektra is the Black Sky. And like I said, I don't know, is she like an Inhuman? Was that a brief little tie-in? And then he's talking to Elektra, and he's like, "Oh, you can choose to be more. You don't have to do what they want you to do. You don't have to be a monster." And ultimately, Elektra agrees with Daredevil, Matt, and she's like, "I'll stand by your side," and all of that. And they fight, and she, unfortunately, she gets taken out. But not really. It's Marvel. No one ever really dies. There is a small scene at the end that kind of implies that something's going on with her, and the ending was also kind of open-ended too, because there was a what am I trying to think? Oh yeah, the whole time he was preaching that you can't kill people and all this bullshit. Who cares? And then at the end, he kind of viciously attacks Nobu. He throws him off the building. And I don't know if we're supposed to believe that he died, like Daredevil killed him, because Nobu was in season 1. He's the guy that burned to death. And we were led to believe that he died. And then it turns out that the hand know the secret to immortality, or they can resurrect people at the very least. Maybe they're not totally immortal, but as long as they're rescued, as long as they're saved before 24 hours or something, I don't know what the secret is, but apparently they can bring people back from the dead. We don't know if it's multiple times or just once, but it can be done, and maybe that's how Nobu survived the first time. Either way, again, we were led to believe that he died in season 1, and apparently we're being led to believe that Daredevil killed him, which is weird because the whole season, Daredevil was bitching about not killing people. Anyway, so yeah, so that's the resolution with the whole Elektra thing. What else? Relationships. Foggy and Matt get into some shit because Matt can't balance his life as Daredevil and as Matt Murdock. So unfortunately, Nelson and Murdock is in shambles at this point. So the season ends with them completely going their separate ways. Turns out that Foggy got a job at another firm. It was the firm that represented Jessica Jones. She makes an appearance. What was her name? I forgot her name. That head, the bitch. The one who was cheating on her wife with another woman, and then she tried to steal the baby for the mind control powers. Her. I forgot her name, but yeah, so she makes an appearance, so there's connection with Jessica Jones right there. And so Foggy's off working for some other law firm. Matt is just doing his own thing, and he's the Daredevil. Frank Castle got some closure. Fuck, man, his scenes are the most intense, honestly. He brutalizes people in prison, and he's looking for answers. He manages to find a guy who was involved in the shootout. He takes him out, and then he gets locked up by Wilson Fisk, because Wilson Fisk makes an appearance when what's his name? Punisher goes to prison. So yeah, and it's actually Wilson Fisk that lets him go. That was interesting, because Wilson Fisk he just wants, you do your thing. You're gonna kill people. You're going to kill all the people that you can, all the criminals, the kind of scum that took away your family. And when I get out of prison, there's nobody to compete with me. Because he managed to become the Kingpin in prison all over again. So, so now he's just waiting to be released, and he's going to reclaim Hell's Kitchen. And his scenes were very intense. There's a brief interaction with Matt Murdock and what's her name? What's his name? Wilson Fisk. I always forget the name. Fuck. Anyway, so yeah, so there's that. Ultimately, like the season ended on a very open-ended note. There's some ropes that are frayed. They're not tied up. They're loose ends, and I guess that's meant to entice us for the next season. Because I know I'm biting my nails for it, because there's some shit that I want to know what happens. Is Nelson and Murdock over, or are they going to manage to work together? The relationship between Matt and Karen kind of fell apart. And the season ends with him revealing that he's Daredevil. That's it. He's like, I want to show you something. And he pulls out his helmet, and Karen's looking at it, and she's looking at him, and she's like, oh my god, and then end credits. That's how it ends. That's how the season ends. So what the fuck happened there? Do they get back together, or does Karen ultimately decide, yeah, if you're going to be a superhero, then I don't want to be involved. I'm sorry that shit went wrong between us before I even found out, because shit goes wrong between them before she even finds out that he's Daredevil. And she to be honest, she was acting kind of bitchy to him. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a guy, but she saw Elektra in his bed, but she was like completely wounded. Like there was no hanky panky going on, none of that. But she saw Elektra in his bed, and that was enough for her to completely, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do it. Like, she completely shut him out, which in my opinion is very petty and childish behavior. You got to talk shit out. Yeah, you got hurt, but like you're really not even gonna listen, because like all he had to say was, yeah, she got fucking stabbed. I know her. She's an old friend, an old girlfriend. Yeah, you can, if that's gonna upset her, sure. But at least he's telling her, yeah, there was nothing going on. She was hurt. That's it. But she just fucking turned her back on him. He tries to help her later on. He's like, well, hold on, the Punisher's after you, and she's like, yeah, fuck you. Like, ultimately, that's what it was. But I don't know. So the relationship between them is kind of what we call it, falling apart. Will they get back together? Who knows? The Punisher, he's found the guy, the reason who killed his family, which is somebody who he trusted. It was actually his old colonel, his old sergeant, or something like that. It was his old commanding officer, and which is Clancy Brown, by the way. Why is Clancy Brown always a bad guy? He was the bad guy in the Shawshank Redemption. He was kind of a dick bad guy in The Flash. Clancy Brown's a great actor, but you shoehorn him in there if you want an easy target. Like, if Clancy Brown is in a movie, he's the fucking bad guy. Anyway, so yeah, so it was Clancy Brown, and it turns out that he's the reason that Frank Castle's family was murdered. He kills him, gets his revenge, and then he takes like all of his weapons, because the guy was a military dude. They served together, and he had a stockpile of weapons. And yeah, so that's how that's going down. And now he's got like the skull on his chest, and he goes off to be the Punisher. So yeah, like I said, ultimately, like I said, this season ended. I think it was strong all the way throughout. Obviously, it wasn't perfect, but it did a very good job of carrying the momentum from season 1. It introduced us to new characters. We have a bigger understanding of the Marvel Universe, because this is like street level stuff, like, you know, the Hand and all that. People forget that Daredevil and Jessica Jones, this is taking place in the same universe as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, this season did a good job of carrying the momentum of the first season. It introduced us to new characters. It broadened the Marvel Universe. So there's more shit that's going on. And yeah, so it's I think it's set up. It did a good job of setting up a Punisher solo series, because we are getting one, I think. They haven't confirmed when. Like, the next one that they're doing is Luke Cage. There was actually a preview for it. It comes out in September. And I know we're getting a Jessica Jones season 2. And I heard rumors of Iron Fist, but I don't know when that's gonna be. And let's see what else. So yeah, so we should be getting a Punisher season 2. I think I heard rumors. It's not 100% confirmed. Like, Marvel didn't come out and say that this was true, but supposedly in Infinity War Parts 1 and 2, you're gonna see the street level heroes. You're gonna see Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and the Punisher, because Infinity War is gonna be a worldwide thing. It's Thanos, an alien threat with the powers of a god. Obviously, he's gonna try and invade Earth, because a lot of shit goes down on Earth. Obviously, that's where the story's going to take place, and they're going to be fighting. Maybe there's going to be like another alien invasion. Maybe we'll see the Chitauri again. He still has an army of the Chitauri. I don't think they were all wiped out. Maybe that was just one unit, you know? Like, you're not going to... Like, all of the American troops are not in the Middle East right now. There are guys stationed here and other places in the world, so I'm sure he still has Chitauri, and maybe they'll invade again, and you'll see, like... Maybe they won't be front and center, but you'll see like a montage, like, oh, your heroes are being defeated, and you see like Daredevil passed out somewhere, and Jessica Jones beaten to a pulp, and the Punisher like surrounded and being blasted, you know, so something like that. But either way, I really enjoyed this season. I hope you guys enjoyed it too, and if you haven't seen it, I hope you will enjoy it. And that's going to be it for the recap show. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.